What's up, everybody? I am Reed, 27 years old, and I am just a normal dude who spent way too much of his early 20s being completely clueless about money and life. I am not a millionaire. I am not some financial guru. And I definitely do not have a Lamborghini sitting behind me to try and impress you. Honestly, if you saw my bank account 4 years ago, you would probably laugh and then feel bad for me at the same time. But here is why I am making this video. I figured some stuff out the hard way and I want to share it with you so maybe you do not have to make the same mistakes I did. So let me start with a little background. When I was 20, I was the definition of a mess. I had credit card debt I could not keep up with. I was buying stuff I did not need to impress people. I did not even like I was working jobs that went nowhere. And every month I would look at my bank account and wonder where all my money disappeared to. I remember one specific month I made like $2,200, and by the time rent hit, I had like $80 left, and I literally ate ramen for 2 weeks straight. And I told myself, this is fine, this is just how life is for people my age, but it is not fine, and I think deep down I knew that I just did not know what to do about it. The turning point for me came when I was about 22, and I realized something really uncomfortable. I was going to be 30 someday. And if I kept living the way I was living, I would be 30 with nothing to show for it. I would be 30 and still broke 30 and still stressed about money, 30 and still living paycheck to paycheck. And that thought scared me more than anything. So I started reading, I started watching videos, I started paying attention to people who actually had their lives together. And I started noticing patterns. There were three big things that changed everything for me. And I want to break them down for you the way I wish someone had broken them down for me when I was 20 years old, eating ramen and wondering why life felt so hard. The first thing is networking. I know when you hear the word networking, you probably think of boring conferences with name tags and awkward small talk where everyone is just trying to hand you a business card. Yeah, I thought the same thing, but hear me out, because networking is not what you think it is, and it changed my life in ways I cannot even fully explain. When I was 17, I started selling watermelons at a local farmer's market with my brother. I am not kidding, $3 a watermelon and 25 cents for tomato plants. And I thought I was a businessman. I thought I had it all figured out, but I was stuck because I did not know anyone who could help me level up. I would try to reach out to business owners in my area. I would email them. I would DM them. I would ask if they could ment for me or give me advice, and guess what? Almost nobody responded. Why? Because they did not know who I was. I was just some random kid asking for help, and they had no reason to trust me or invest their time in me. That is when it clicked for me. Your network is literally your net worth. I know that sounds like some corny quote people put on Instagram, but it is actually true. The reason those business owners did not respond to me is because I had zero credibility in their eyes. I had no reputation. I had no proof that I was serious, and I had no way to show them that I was worth their time. So I decided to change. Thought started creating content online, not because I wanted to be famous or make money from ads, but because I wanted to build a name for myself. I wanted to become the kind of person that people already knew before I even walked into the room. And let me tell you, it worked. Fast forward a few years, and I am going to conferences, and I am meeting people who already know who I am because they have seen my videos. They come up to me and they say, hey, are you that guy from the internet? And we start talking. And before I know it, opportunities start flowing my way: business partnerships, investment deals, friendships with people who are way smarter than me, all because I took the time to put myself out there. And the crazy part is, you do not need 1 million followers for this to work. You just need a small group of people who know what you are about. You need to be consistent, and you need to be genuine. I have had people reach out to me with like 500 followers on YouTube who ended up building real connections that changed their careers because they showed up authentically and people noticed. So if you are trying to start a business or a side hustle or just get your foot in the door somewhere, start building your presence online. It does not matter if it is YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever. Just pick one and start shattering. What you are learning, be useful, be consistent, and I promise you the right people will start to notice. The second thing that changed everything for me was realizing that business and life are not a zero-sum game. This is a concept that took me way too long to understand, and I think a lot of people never figure it out at its core. The idea is simple. Just because somebody else wins does not mean you have to lose, but most of us grow up thinking the opposite. We think there's a limited amount of success to go around, and if someone else gets ahead, we get pushed back. That is just not true. When I first started my lawn care business in high school, I was competing with other kids in my town for clients. We were all undercutting each other, lowering prices, trying to steal customers, and it was exhausting. Nobody was making any real money because we were all too busy trying to beat each other. And then one day I read this book, or maybe I heard someone say it, I do not remember, but I realized that we could work together instead of against each other. So I reached out to one of the guys I was competing with, and I said, hey, look, we are both struggling. Why do not we team up? I will handle the lawn mowing, you handle the landscaping, and we split the profits. And guess what? It worked. We both made more money than we ever did trying to fight over the same clients. We referred each other to Custo M. We shared equipment, and we became friends in the process. And I see this principle everywhere. Now YouTubers help each other with thumbnails and video ideas. Business owners share resources and connections. Freelancers collaborate on big projects instead of fighting over small ones. It is like that thing in nature where coyotes and badgers hunt together. The coyote is fast and can chase prey across open ground, but the badger can dig into burrows and flush animals out when they work together. They catch way more food than either could alone, and that is how life works too when you stop seeing other people as competitors and start seeing them as potential collaborators. Everything changes. You start building bridges instead of walls. You start creating value instead of fighting over scraps. And that mindset shift alone will open doors you did not even know existed. So if you are in a competitive space right now, ask yourself, is there someone I could be working with instead of fighting against you? Might be surprised at what happens. The third thing that made a huge difference for me was learning about the 3 levels in any business and understanding which level I was actually working at. I got this from a book called The E-Myth Revisited, and if you have not read it, I highly recommend it. But let me break it down simply. In any business, there are 3 types of roles. There is the technician who actually does the work, building the product, serving the customer, fixing the problem. There is the manager who organizes things, makes sure everything runs smoothly, and keeps the team on track. And then there is the entrepreneur or the visionary who thinks about the future, decides where the business is going, and figures out how to growth. Problem most people have, including me for a long time, is they try to do all 3 roles at once. And for a while it works. You can do everything yourself when you are small. But as you grow, you hit a wall, you start burning out because you are trying to be the person making the product, managing the operations, and planning for the future all at the same time. And you end up doing all of them bad. This happened to me in 2019. I was trying to fulfill orders myself. I was trying to handle customer service. I was trying to create content. I was trying to manage my team, and I was trying to figure out where to take the business next. And I was exhausted all the time. I was working 12, 14-hour days, and I was not moving forward. I was just spinning my wheel. Is when I realized I needed to start letting go. I needed to outsource the technician work. I needed to hire people to do the things that were not the best use of my time. And then I needed to step into the entrepreneur role full time. I needed to stop working in my business and start working on my business. And I am not going to It is hard to let go. It is scary to trust other people with something you built. But if you want to grow past a certain point, you have to do it. You cannot scale a business. If you are doing every single task yourself, you cannot build wealth. If you are trading your time for money 1 hour at a time, you have to create systems, you have to build a team, you have to give up control so you can gain freedom. So here's my challenge to you. Where are you spending your time right now? Are you doing the tech work, the managerial work, or the visionary work? And more importantly, are you spending most of your time in the role that actually moves the needle for your future? If not, what can you start letting go of today? Look, I am not some expert. I am just a guy who made a lot of mistakes and learned a few things along the way, but I promise you, if you start building your network, if you stop seeing life as a competition, and if you figure out what level you are working at, you will start seeing real progress. It will not happen overnight, but it will happen if you stay consistent. Thanks for sticking with me through this video. If you got something out of it, please subscribe to the channel. It honestly means more to me than you know, and follow me on Instagram. If you want to see more of my daily thoughts and random ramblings, I will catch you in the next one. Peace.